Today, we're going to discuss how to burn more fat while you are sleeping. Now, the first thing to know is that if you're going to burn fat, it's going to happen at night, not during the day. If you weigh yourself before you go to sleep and then compare that to when you wake up versus when you wake up and compare that to the end of the day, you are going to find, if you use a special scale, that you are going to lose a little bit more at night and hardly anything during the day. You burn fat when you're relaxing, when you're resting, when you're repairing. But what I want to talk about is how to turn that dial up, how to burn more fat while you're sleeping. So when you go to sleep at night, you actually go through 4 different waves of sleep, from a superficial level to a much deeper level. And there's like 4 different waves that you go through. It's in the deeper delta wave where you're burning the fat. And what triggers that is this hormone called growth hormone. And growth hormone is the main fat burning hormone. It's the hormone that helps to mobilize fat from the fat reserves and help you use that for energy and repair. So then the question is, how do we get more of delta wave sleep so you can get more growth hormone? Well, there's many things you can do related to sleep, but one is making sure that your room is not too hot. If you're slightly cooler, you'll get more into a deeper restful sleep. So I keep my temperature about 65 to 68 degrees. Now, the next thing is you want to make sure your room is very, very dark so there's no light coming in, because darkness stimulates melatonin, and melatonin triggers growth hormone. Okay, and that's going to help you sleep. So this is why you wouldn't want to be on your cell phone or your computer right before bed. You don't want to expose your eyes to blue light. So the best thing before bed is to maybe read a book, or, if you're going to watch TV, make sure it's comedy, it's not the news, or some thriller or some action movie. That's a big mistake. If I watch a comedy, by the time it's 9 o'clock, I am like ready for bed. Now, I know that might sound early, and that's just me, but as long as you're getting to bed before 11 o'clock, you'll be in much better shape. Because the way these circadian waves work is that if you miss the first wave, 90-minute wave, and you go to bed after 12 o'clock, now you have to kind of wait until that wave catches you for the next wave. So in other words, if you're tired and you don't go to bed and you push through it, and now you're awake, then you have to wait 90 minutes before you can catch the wave and get back into the next wave of sleep. So there's various hormones that are triggering sleep that are in a kind of a wave pattern. There's a couple other things I'm going to mention about sleep. When you go to sleep, a lot of times what keeps you up is thinking about things, right? You're solving problems. I recommend taking vitamin B1 before you go to bed. You can do it through nutritional yeast or a B1 supplement, but that will greatly help kind of turn off that conversation that is going on and on in your brain. A couple other really good nutrients to take right before sleep are vitamin D3, like 10,000 international units. That is going to help you reset your circadian wave. It's also going to get rid of pain. If you're trying to sleep at night and you have pain, that's going to inhibit your ability to sleep. Also, zinc before bed is a really good thing as well. Now, if you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you can't get back to bed, that means your cortisol is too high. So one thing you do is focus on your breath. Make sure that the inhalation is the same as the exhalation. And so whether that's 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, just make sure the timing of the inhalation matches the exhalation. You can focus on your breath as you're laying there, as you're trying to get back into sleep. And pretty soon you'll be waking up, realizing that you just slept. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. And then if you do get up at 2, that means you need to focus more on your stress and work on that. I have a lot of videos on that. I'll put some links down below if you have that problem. So if sleeping enhances fat burning, insomnia inhibits fat burning. And the number one thing that makes you not sleep is stress. Probably one of my best tips for stress is to get outside, get in nature, and do physical work of some type of productive work that you can use your whole body and you can actually get tired. That would be something I would highly recommend. If you can't do that, then do some type of exercise. That will counter the stress. Now, if you have pain, I already mentioned this, vitamin D is the best remedy for pain, especially if it's in your lower back. If you have leg cramps, that means you need electrolytes, because leg cramps can keep you up as well. So any leg cramps, check out the link down below. I have a very specific video on that. Now, the next reason why people can't sleep is they're getting up urinating several times a night. That means you have insulin resistance, in which case you need to go on keto and do intermittent fasting. But the main thing with that is the snacking late at night. That is the killer. You need to stop snacking at night. In fact, I wouldn't recommend eating past 6:30, and I wouldn't recommend drinking any liquids past 6:30. Just drink a lot of liquids during the day, but not past 6:30. That'll give you plenty of time to make sure your bladder's not filled so you can go to bed and sleep through the whole night. It's going to help you lose more weight. All right, number 2, exercise. Not just any exercise, but vigorous exercise will help you burn more fat because it's going to increase more growth hormone. What is the term vigorous? What does that mean? It means done with force and intensity. So I wouldn't do a little light thing very quick. You want to actually do something high intensity with a lot of force that will cause your body to get sore the next day. So whatever that is, that's what you need to do. You see, when you exercise, you don't burn any fat right away. What you're doing is you're tearing your body down, you're stressing it out. And then in the recovery phase, when you're sleeping, is when you burn the fat. And if you want to burn more fat, you want to do more vigorous exercise, full body, intense, short duration, lots of rest, try not to overtrain. High intensity interval training, it's called HIIT, is another great pattern of exercise. I have videos on that. I'll put the links down below. But exercise will definitely help you burn more fat while you're sleeping. Now, one nullification that will completely nullify your workout. Now, here you spend, half hour or an hour putting all this effort in, and the last thing you want to do is to pretty much cancel out your ability to burn fat. You want to make sure that you don't nullify that. And one big thing that will nullify it is consuming food before, during, or after the workout, as in a protein energy bar, as in a protein shake, as in a carbohydrate sugar shake. Okay, so you don't want to consume any of that stuff around the workout. Now, you can do electrolytes if there's no sugar, but don't do any protein, amino acids. It's not going to help you. So you have enough protein in your body to repair at night. It's not going to happen anyway during the day. So why are you going to waste your time? The purpose of exercise is to stress the body, break down everything so you can heal the next night or the next few days. So don't eat anything before or after the workout. And in fact, if you combine number 2, exercise, with number 3, fasting, this is the next topic, you can create some serious weight loss when you're sleeping. Fasting is probably the most potent thing to help you lose weight, especially when you're sleeping, because you can increase growth hormone by a factor of 2,000%. When you're working out, you're only increasing growth hormone at a max of 700%. So fasting is way more powerful. And I would practice intermittent fasting as well as periodic prolonged fasting to really spike that growth hormone so you can lose more weight while you're sleeping. Now, a couple cool things about fasting. It's very cheap. In fact, it costs nothing. It's free. You're not eating. You're going to save a lot of money. If you reduce the frequency of meals, like I'm going to recommend, you'll save at least $500 a month just on food. And you'll probably have some of the biggest health effects that you've ever had in your entire life. One being fat loss, but there's a lot of other benefits: cognitive improvements, improvements in mood, decreasing risk of cancer and other diseases. But a really important thing to combine is to exercise while you're fasting, okay? If you can do it, that would be a very good thing. But what would determine that is if you work out and you still can maintain the level of intensity without that food, that means you've fully adapted to fat, and you should be doing that. But some people, they lose their strength when they work out while they're fasting simply because they haven't adapted yet. So that does take some time, in which case I would work out around the meal, either right before or right after you eat. When you do fasting, you stimulate something called the parasympathetic nervous system. And another name for the parasympathetic nervous system is rest and digest. You're going to be able to feel calm, you're going to be able to rest much better, and you're going to be able to burn more fat. You don't burn fat when you're in the sympathetic flight or fight mode, when you're in stress mode. You don't. You burn fat when you're in a relaxed state. So if fasting improves fat burning while you're sleeping, then frequent eating is a killer in burning fat while you're sleeping. And it is. So you don't want to do that. You want to do intermittent fasting. What will turn off fat burning faster than anything is carbs, even a little bit of carb. Also, eating in general will turn off your fat burning simply because eating triggers insulin. All right, as far as your macros go, what do you do with your carbs? Well, I would not count your vegetable carbohydrates. I would have big salads. I would try to count the other carbs and make sure they're below 20 grams per day, not per meal, but per day. That's going to be very, very important. Now, as far as the fat goes, I would recommend not adding additional fat to your diet. I would only have the fat that is with your meats, okay? That means not adding additional fats from some keto dessert or your bulletproof coffee or MCT oil. You can put a little cream in your coffee, but don't add additional fats. Why? Because we're trying to go after weight loss, and if you add additional fats, your body's going to burn that for energy and not your own fat reserve. So in other words, keep your fat kind of in the moderate amount, not excessive. All right, what about protein? 20% of your calories should be protein. So I would recommend anywhere between like 6 to 7 ounces of protein per meal. If you are a female and you're younger and you're smaller, maybe 3 ounces of protein. And of course, I want to hammer this home. All it takes is a little bit of carbohydrate to block a lot of fat burning. All it takes is a little snack before bedtime, or a half a glass of wine, or a handful of nuts, or maybe a little bit of ice cream before bed to completely cancel out all the things that you were doing right during the day, the previous day. Let's say you worked out, you ate healthy, and then you had this little carbo snack. Guess what? All those great potential benefits are nullified. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm just the messenger. Okay. So next point is stress and cortisol. When cortisol goes up, your weight loss goes down. Stress alone is probably equivalent to eating sugar, okay? Because stress increases cortisol. Cortisol, another name for it is called glucocorticoids because it helps you regulate glucose. And so if your cortisol goes up, your fat burning goes down. You have to avoid stress. Some of the best things you can do for stress, like I already mentioned, would be physical work outside, in nature. That would be great. Long walks, very, very, very important. All right, number 6, there are other things you can do to trigger more fat burning while you're sleeping. And this mainly is focusing in on triggering growth hormone, okay? Number 1, niacin, that's vitamin B3, can help you trigger growth hormone. Arginine, which is an amino acid, can help you trigger growth hormone and lose more weight. Zinc increases testosterone, and increasing testosterone will then increase growth hormone. Okay, zinc is a good one. Oysters have the most zinc. Red meat has zinc too. Creatine from red meat also can trigger growth hormone. Okay, so don't think red meat is bad, but just make sure consume a moderate amount, not high protein, because that can inhibit weight loss as well. There's another natural thing you can take to help increase growth hormones called DHEA. This is good to take when you're getting older, menopausal, or just over the age of 50. When your DHEA is going down because the adrenals are weakened, you can even take it as a supplement to increase growth hormone. All right, the next thing to take to help you, not just with sleep, but with growth hormone is vitamin D. Vitamin D3 can help. Make sure you take at least 10,000 international units. All right, and then lastly, we have potassium and magnesium, 2 powerful electrolytes that can help calm your body, allow you to get into a restful sleep and burn more fat. Potassium and magnesium are both natural physiological tranquilizers. They calm the nerves. They help your muscles repair. Very, very important to take that, especially if you've exercised during the day. But just make sure you don't take that in electrolyte form right before you go to bed, because it's going to make you urinate, because it's going to get rid of excess fluid. All right, then there's 2 last points I want to bring up. There's things that inhibit growth hormone. One is xenobiotics. That would be like the pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, fungicides. So you want to eat more organic, because all those things can stimulate things like estrogen and lower your growth hormone and your testosterone and create problems. So you want to eat really clean. And if you're on medications, okay, that's a real big blocker for growth hormone and fat burning. There are quite a few people that just can't lose weight because they're on medication. I've done about 5,000 videos on various topics, and a lot of these topics include overcoming health problems. You can do a search and find out the best remedies for that. All right, if you haven't seen my video specifically on growth hormone, I put it up right here. Check it out.